Now that it is 11 o'clock, let's get started. Thank you. Welcome to those who have joined us for the pre-trip webinar this morning. Hello, Helen and Catherine's here, and Carrie and Paul. And I'm sure everyone else will be tuning in for either in the next few minutes or to get the replay that we will send out roughly 24 hours after this webinar. So today's agenda, first of all, I'm going to formally introduce your host, Joseph, who's joining me on this webinar today. And we are going to talk a bit about what you need to know for the trip to Colombia, what to pack, and about money and communication and so on. Then we'll touch on the arrival in Bogota, the capital of Colombia, what you need to know there. And I'm not going to go through the itinerary in any great detail. You've all got the daily, and we'll talk about how that's going to work in the context of the communications that you're going to be getting from Joseph. And most importantly, we're going to answer any questions that you have about the trip. Obviously, the goal today is to make sure that you are ready to go to this incredible country. So, first of all, Joseph, um, our illustrious host,
Yes.
illustrious. That's the wrong. I was trying to think of a better adjective for Joseph.
Illustrious.
One of our most beloved hosts, who's been hosting with us for over a year now. And well, tell us a little bit about yourself
Yeah.
and your experience in hosting with Wheel and Anchor so far.
Yeah. Well, I'm an avid traveler for sure. I've hosted now between Wheel and Anchor, which I'm exclusively with now, but I've hosted over 35 trips. So yeah, I've been enjoying the world. I love showing people, and Wheel and Anchor has been my very most favorite company to work with. So I'm looking forward to meeting you all. I know Paul and Donalda. I was on my Spanish trip, so that's great. I always like having repeat guests, makes a little portion of it simpler. But yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting everyone and having a great trip to Colombia.
Yeah, and you will have that. So if you're new to Wheel and Anchor, if you've not been one of our trips before, just to qualify what the role is of a host, because this is a moniker that is a bit unique to us. Some other tour companies call them tour managers or tour escorts or tour leaders. And our hosts, Joseph in this case, are all of that. But it's a little bit more than that. So obviously, the host responsibility is to make sure that all of the logistics, all of the arrangements that we've made happen as intended. And where if there are hiccups along the way, and in travel, there's always hiccups along the way, to make sure that those are taken care of. And so that oftentimes you don't even know that something's gone awry, as we were talking about on a webinar yesterday. We are known for having our plan Bs, and sometimes the plan B can even be more fun than the plan A. And so that's probably the most important role of the host. And but it's also to make sure that the community really is able to gel, right? We are a community, so it's different than just signing up with some miscellaneous tour company and being a name on a list. And we do have a list and we do have your name on it, but you are part of this group of like-minded people from all across Canada. And that connection is a big part of what we're all about. And so the host is there to try to sort of facilitate and make sure that, you feel part of something, because it really makes a difference in terms of how you experience travel around the world. Um, the host is not the guide. So when you want to find out about how high are the mountains in the valleys surrounding Bogota and Colombia, Joe is probably not going to know. He might know actually, but we obviously have very competent local guides, English-speaking guides from Colombia in all the places that you're going, who are the ones that will deliver the goods in terms of all of the facts and figures and all that information. So that's so just to differentiate that, that's what the role of the host is. So now it's time for us to talk a little bit about what you need to know for your trip. And in this day and age, in terms of documents and so on that you need, it used to be money, tickets, passports. Now I basically say it's passport, credit card, and phone. Is are what you really need. The passport being the most important thing. There's no visa required for Colombia. at the moment, so you're good for up to 90 days. But it is important to make sure your passport is valid, and it should be valid for at least 6 months after your arrival into Colombia. So you probably checked that already, but if you haven't, just do a double check, because there's not much time left if you had to renew your passport. And it your passport generally should have two blank pages. I've been nearly caught out going into Europe when I've been down to the last page, and I've gotten my fingers wrapped for not getting a new passport. So um, keep that in mind. Make a copy of your passport. I always recommend having a copy, at the very least, just a copy on your phone. That way, you don't have to take your passport anywhere with you. That you don't need to show it anywhere after you arrive in immigration, after you pass through immigration in Colombia. But sometimes, if you're changing money, or you never know where somebody might ask for your passport. Sometimes I found in Colombia, I was just in Bogota briefly in the spring on my way to Ecuador, and I was buying some clothes because they lost my luggage, and they asked for the passport um, by paying with a foreign credit card. So, whoops, we lost Joe. Joe, what happened? We lost Joe. He'll be back in a minute. I don't know where he went. Maybe he went. Maybe he went for a nature break. Joe, where? Oh, there you're back. We lost you for a second.
Oh, it's something with the internet is just bounced in and out.
That
Can you see
happens.
me?
That happens. Yep, all good. You're good. I was just talking about the passport,
Can you see?
and
Okay.
that sometimes they will
Yeah.
ask for it if you are. Oops, sorry, we jumped ahead there. If you are making a purchase with a foreign credit card, and there's an example of where having a copy on your phone is sufficient to give evidence as to your identity when you arrive in. So there's no visa fee, but there is um, a an entry fee, or sometimes they call it a reciprocal free fee that you have to pay of 256,000 pesos. Sounds like a lot. It's about $90. Um, we have a note here that there can be a bit of a lineup to pay the fee. I recall again having arrived, and it was all very easy. You pay by card. So I personally did not have a challenge with it when I was last in Colombia, as I say, this past spring. But do note that you should have your card ready. And they will sometimes ask for proof of return travel. This is more common in Latin American countries, but they can ask for it anywhere. And it's not so much the immigration authorities that ask for it, but it's the airline when you're checking in for your flight. You're going to have a return ticket anyway, so it's not much of an issue. But keep that in mind to have your air reservation, particularly if you're traveling on a separate ticket, handy. But otherwise, there is also one other thing that you need to do before you go to the airport. So, up to 72 hours, up to 3 days before the trip, there is a pre-registration form. So it's like an electronic travel authorization. So many countries have them now, that you need to fill in before getting on the plane. So it's all in the trip specific in reference guide that we sent you. And so make sure, if you haven't reread that part, double check, find the link, make a note in your calendar to do that pre-registration form online before you go to the airport. And otherwise, you'll be good to go. So, Joseph, why don't you suggest to our members what they ought to consider bringing, clothing wise and otherwise? Joe?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So again, packing smart is always absolutely the key. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yep. Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear
Okay,
you.
great. Sorry. So packing smart is key. Colombia serves all kinds of climates in one trip. Bogota, for example, is cooler, especially mornings and the evenings. It can be roughly 10 to 20 degrees Celsius and probably even cooler at night at times. The coffee region, mild and pleasant. It's perfect temperatures, mid 20s during the day, cooler evenings with the occasional shower, so a rain jacket for sure. The Medellin, is that the proper way to say it,
Medellin, Medellin,
Gordon? Oh,
Medellin.
comfortable, Medellin. Comfortable, Medellin. Okay, gotcha. It's very comfortable and mild, generally warm during the day, cooler at night. February is the dry season, which is fantastic. And Cartagena, hot and humid, so lightweight clothing and essentials like just very light sweater and then bring lightweight layers. You can mix and match like t-shirts, cardigans, light sweaters, jean shorts, all the typical things you would bring. Again, a light waterproof jacket for the occasional showers. Footwear is incredibly important. We always recommend bringing two pairs because we do a fair bit of walking. With the chocolate and the coffee farm that we go to, it's about 4 or 5 kilometer walks, and it's on uneven grounds and dirt roads. So yeah, just make sure you're very comfortable and good support. A day pack is pretty essential to carry a cap, sunscreen, extra water, any snacks or things you might think you need, particularly if you're diabetic or anything like of that nature. And I'll be reminding you pretty much daily all throughout the trip, but especially in Cartagena, where it's going to be very warm and lots of sun. And we have here like hydrate early and often all day long. And so I do remind you all of these things throughout the day. Luggage, we have
Yeah,
portage at
I
all of our hotels. And what helps us a lot there is if you have a luggage tag with your name. You don't necessarily have to have your address for security reasons, but if you have a name and an emergency phone number or an email, that's great because then the hotel can see who you are and know your room number and get your bags to your room efficiently. Money,
precisely. I think.
currency, the
Hold on.
Colombian
Let's
peso. I
just
looked this morning. I think it was 1,000 pesos was 38 cents.
Joe. I think there's a bit of a delay on your connection, so
Sorry, I
I
lost you
just
there. Yeah,
realized that.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
so.
there's a bit of
Sorry.
a yeah, there's a bit of a delay on
There's
your
always
collection.
something.
Yeah. In any case, yeah, I think you covered
So
everything
where have you heard so
well.
far?
Okay.
Luggage wise.
Yeah, I'm just going to I'll just fill in some blanks there, Joe, if you will. You just bear with me because I think your connection is delayed quite a bit. Everything
Sorry.
that you mentioned is perfect. As Joe mentioned, you're going to have some very different temperatures from the elevation in Bogota, which is quite high up. That's why even though you're in the tropics, but because of the elevation, it can be very cool in the evenings. Cartagena, on the other hand, humid. So you need quite a bit, but you also want to pack light. So you want to have you could get away with a carry-on on a trip like this. And I know more and more of our members like to just travel super
Hmm.
light because you don't need all that much stuff. But the layering part is really important. So having that windbreaker, a light sweater, or a fleece. Like I'm in Thailand now. It's tropical, but it's cool in the evening, and it's the same thing there. You want to have something to be able to go on top for the cooler evenings. The other thing I just wanted to mention as well is keep in mind the what was I going to say? The hydration. So bring a water bottle. Joe alluded to it as well. Hydration is really, really important. And maybe you have a wheel and anchor water bottle if you've been to one of our events and you've managed to snag one. But that and sun protection, because once again, the elevation is such that you won't notice it. It'll be cool sometimes, but the sun can be quite strong because you're at elevation. So do keep those things in mind, and travel smart and travel as light as is reasonably possible. Um, Good. I think that's good. You're back online, Joe, or still with the delay?
I'm here.
Yes.
I'm sorry, it keeps popping in and out. I'm not sure why, but I always seem to have a little issue. Do you want me to
Okay.
continue with money? Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Go
So
ahead.
yeah, so let's talk money. The easiest way to handle it smoothly is, as I said, the Colombian peso. I checked this morning, 1,000 pesos was like 38 cents our money. Credit cards, of course, are widely used, and debit cards. Carry some small cash with you if you're in markets and see things you'd like to buy. You don't really need to carry a lot of cash. There's bank machines everywhere, just like the rest of the world. Um, if you want to check current rates, the guides in Colombia are suggesting xe.com. We as a company, though, use Wise cards. We strongly recommend using the Wise card. It's basically like a debit credit card that you can load up with Canadian currency, and then you can use it with over 40 different rates around the world, 40 different currencies. It's super easy to interface with your phone, so you can have it digitally for tap. Um, in Canadian dollars, you can tap or swipe as you would with any other credit card. I think you can withdraw up to $300 a day with no fee whatsoever. Uh, Other than that, the ATM machine charges are unavoidable. If like the Canadian banks are charging like $5 to $7 to withdraw when you're abroad, but you can't escape that. It's a great way to manage your travel budget because you can see easily what's left in your travel spending account. The very best thing about it is the exchange rates are hard to beat. They're second to none. I don't know of any other card system that with better exchange rates, certainly much better than any Canadian bank will give you. Details on how to get one of the trip specific reference guide. You can get a digital card almost immediately, which I just did one. I had to replace my plastic one, but it came in a few days. You can have that in your digital wallet or the physical card. And the very best thing about it again is there's no hidden fees, and the cost of the transactions are very little to none.
Yeah, the exchange rates on the Wise card are the best I've seen anywhere. As soon as I leave Canada, that's the only thing I use. So we do suggest it. We get nothing for it for suggesting it, but I just think it's very revolutionary in travel. Um, Talking about gratuities, and as Joe
The other
mentioned,
thing,
you don't.
Gordon, just to say that
Oh, go ahead, Joe. The internet lags.
froze
Yeah, you were going to
again.
say?
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Joe. It's I
Yeah,
think your
I was
connection's
just going to
lagging.
mention that I used to transfer the money. Yeah, I used to transfer the Canadian money into the local currency, but I don't even do that anymore. I just leave it in Canadian dollars and withdraw it in the local currency. It's again, it's simple and easy to follow how much cash you have.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's that's I do much the same. Um, yeah, just I was gonna touch on gratuities. As Joe said, you don't really need a lot of cash because all of the gratuities you have prepaid, and Joseph will be looking after your drivers and your guides, and all of the places where gratuities would otherwise be necessary. We've covered them on your behalf. Um, but if you're out on your own dining, leaving 10% is customary, not like at home, so it's a lot less. And they do prefer uh, that tip is paid in cash, particularly if you're paying with a credit card. The only other place where gratuities are not included is where we're not there. So, your airport transfer driver, if you have somebody, you have a great driver bringing you from the airport, you might want to slip them a couple of bucks. In that case, US is fine, or even Canadian dollars is fine. They'll take anything as a tip. Or if you're somebody that likes to leave a tip for your housekeeper, those kinds of things are at your discretion, but as I say, for the most part, it's all taken care of. Um, Perfect. Let's talk about communications. Perhaps I'll take the ball from here, Joe, just in light of the uh, connection issues.
Yeah, thank you.
The No problem. My pleasure. My pleasure. That's why we're a team. So for mobile communications, first of all,
Exactly.
bring your phone because you will need to be getting messages on Telegram from Joseph, who's going to update you on a daily basis with the program for the next day and any announcements, any information that you need to know. So bring your phone. Now, how to use your phone? You have a couple of different options. You could just rely on Wi Fi. There's certainly Wi Fi in all of the hotels. When you get out and about, restaurants typically have them like at home, but I do suggest getting, having local data coverage so that you can use your phone all the time. you have a couple options. First of all, you can use your SIM card from home, and the our providers in our mobile providers in Canada are getting better with giving a bit of a break on roaming outside of Canada. It's still very much more expensive than getting a local SIM card, but that is an option. And the benefit to keeping your SIM card in is, of course, is that you have the same phone numbers at home. Everything's the same. You use your phone literally like at home. Um, what we suggest, though, if you can part ways with your phone number for those 2 weeks that you're in Colombia, is that you get a SIM card. You can either get a physical SIM, that's the little plastic thing that you see here, or you can get an eSIM, which has become more and more popular. Any phone that was made in the last few years, they pretty much all take eSIM cards. And there are a million different providers. That's why we don't suggest any one, only because I have yet to find out which is the ultimately best one. A lot of our members use Airolo. I use one called Saily, Saily. I have two. I use one called Phonus. There's pros and cons to all of them. But do a little bit of research online, and you'll find one that suits you best. So the reason to be have your phone and have it enabled so you can receive messages is largely because of Telegram. And Telegram is the app we use for communications while on trip at Wheel and Anchor. So if you have not already downloaded, we provided instructions in the documentation that was sent out to you. So please do download the app, set it up, set yourself up, and send Joseph a message and say, "Hey, Joe, I'm so and so from the trip to Colombia." He will make sure that you are added into the channel and the group. So there are two chats that you'll get put into. The first one is the broadcast channel, which is where Joe will send a message pretty much every day, updating you on the daily. That is our itinerary document, that is a fluid document. Whenever there's modifications in the itinerary, changes the departure time or when lunch is or whatever it happens to be, that will be in the daily, and that will be sent out to you by Joseph on Telegram. Usually you do it, I think, probably the night before, Joseph, if I'm not mistaken. That's our normal protocol.
Yes, I do that. Yeah.
Similarly, yeah, there's a group chat, so you can talk to all of the other members in the group. So, if you've got a free evening and you're like, hey, who wants to go for dinner? Or I want to go for Chinese food, or I want to go for Colombian food. The group chat is a great communication tool. And honestly, on a lot of our trips, I've got groups that I was with earlier this year and last year even that are still chatting with one another in the group chat. So it's a nice way to stay connected to your fellow members. But as I say, do download it, and the instructions are in the information that was provided. I'm going to touch on a couple of points on health protocols. First and foremost, should you develop symptoms of anything, hopefully just a cold, or well, hopefully nothing at all, of course. But if you have a sneeze or a cough or anything like that, please do wear a mask. This is obviously in the interest of ensuring that the well-being of your fellow members on the trip, and it's just the right thing to do. Um, Secondly, if you find that you injure yourself at any time during the trip, and let's hope that's not the case, but even if you twist your foot or something like that, or you have a little fall or a scrape or something, please do let Joseph know. We tend to encourage that you see a clinic, get some medical attention, because we want to make sure that you get back home in the same condition that you arrived in. So I know we sometimes have the tendency, I'm the same, as like, oh, that's nothing, but let's decide together just to make sure that it's nothing more serious. And lastly, it goes without saying, we are non-smoking. So if you're somebody that likes to have a smoke now and again, if you could just not do it while together with the other members on any of our excursions, that would be much appreciated. So let's get into some arrival logistics. Landing in this beautiful city. Many of you will be flying either direct or via Toronto to get down to Bogota on Air Canada or Avianca, perhaps. Um, the nice thing is that it's pretty much in the same time zone or within an hour or two, depending on which time zone in Canada you're coming from. So there's pretty much no, well, there isn't any jet lag, and that's one of the beautiful things about this trip. When you arrive in, or well, before you leave, make sure you are keeping an eye on your phone because airlines are advising passengers well in advance if they anticipate a delay. And with all the bad weather that we can get in Canada, sometimes they know the incoming flight is delayed and they know that you're going to be delayed. And so if you do experience a delay, particularly if you are connecting, let's say you're flying out of Winnipeg via Toronto to get to Bogota. And you miss the connection. It's really, really important that you use Telegram. Let Joseph know that you're going to be delayed so that he can get in touch with the transfer company and make sure that arrangements are made to pick you up when you do arrive, because we don't want to be hunting for you if you're not on the plane. Of course, the driver is going to be looking out for your flight if it is a little bit late. So don't worry about that. As long as you're on the flight that you were meant to be on, then you're good to go. And when you arrive in, it's a fairly new airport terminal in Bogota. It's quite large. It's quite busy, as airports are these days. The driver will be there with a sign with your name and or wheel and anchor. So look out for that. There could be a lot of people there, so just be patient. They will be there. We haven't left anybody behind at the airport. But if for some reason, if after looking around for 10 or 15 minutes or so, if you still can't find them, then again, get online, either using the airport Wi-Fi or using a SIM card if you've already gotten one. Drop Joseph a note, and he will help to get in touch with our transfer company to make sure that you get picked up and or get brought to the hotel. Now that obviously applies if you're arriving on day one. If you're coming in early, and I think a couple of you are, then you'll have made your own arrangements because, of course, Joseph is only in on site the day before. So we only provide transfers on the first day of the trip. Um, so yeah, that's that. And just a couple of words about the itinerary. You're going to be covering some of the key regions of the country here, starting with Bogota, and then you'll be there for a few nights. You are high up in the mountains. It's in a big valley. It's quite a green city. I mean, there are certainly parts of it that are very built up in concrete, but I think you'll quite enjoy Bogota. You then fly over to the west into what's called the coffee region. It's known for the very tall wax palm trees. They're really spectacular. You'll get a sense of where that famous Colombian coffee comes from. Then up to Medellin, which of course was back in the day the drug cartel capital of Colombia, but now it is an incredibly cultural city. It's fascinating, and it also has a wonderfully mild climate. So you'll get to spend some time exploring Medellin and over to Guatape. And then the last leg of the trip, of course, is Cartagena. And here, of course, being on the Caribbean Sea, you have that tropical weather. And you'll get to visit the walled city, the old city of Cartagena that is so famous. So that's the overview of the trip. Just a couple of notes. Here you can see our group from last year in Bogota. They had a grand time. People really enjoyed the hotel. They enjoyed the whole experience. It's the one thing I want to say about the city is that it's relatively safe. So it has a reputation, Colombia in general, from its dark past, but things have improved a lot. That being said, it is a big city and it's a big city in Latin America. So you want to exercise some vigilance. So don't go wandering out on your own alone at night. Honestly, you wouldn't do that in parts of Toronto or Vancouver for that matter. So, wouldn't want to do that in Bogota. But during the day, your guide will sort of give you an indication. There are some areas of the city where you have to be a little bit more vigilant, but for the most part, the worst things that are happening there are pickpockets and bag snatchers and so on and so forth. But we didn't have any issues, and I'm sure you won't either. But yeah, just be mindful. When you get down to the coffee region, you're going to experience some of these, the wonderful nature and this just picturesque landscape that you see here. and you'll have a chance to imbibe in some of the coffee. Medellin, particularly this area called Comuna 17, which used to be a very poor neighborhood and has really gentrified over the years as Colombia has sort of distanced itself. They still obviously have the drug cartels and so on, but they're way off in the more remote parts of the country. So you won't have any risk of running into any of that while you're there, and you'll get to really enjoy Medellin to the fullest. And finally, Cartagena. Cartagena is of all the cities probably the one where you need to be the most vigilant. And being a port city, there's a bit of a transient population there, and so it's safe enough. We wouldn't be going, obviously, if it wasn't safe. But this is a place where you definitely, let's put it this way, I would bring a money belt for wandering around in Cartagena. And I don't in most cities, but that's one place where, again, particularly if you're out and about on your own, to just be mindful. But otherwise, it's a very colorful city, and it's warm. It's going to be quite warm. So keep that in mind. You'll have a chance to don the shorts and t-shirt. Um, that pretty much wraps up our pre-trip webinar. So hopefully we've given you a lot of information. A lot of what we've talked about today is covered in the documentation that was sent to you. So do read through it again, and it's always good to give it a second read in case you missed something the first go around. At this point, I'll take any
Mhm.
questions. I haven't seen any questions come in yet, so that must mean that we've done a pretty good job. Are there any questions at all about the trip? Now, of course, you'll probably think of a question the moment that the webinar is over. And if you do, the person you can message is Melody. She is our sort of sales support specialist. So she's the one that's there to answer any questions that you might have. So you can drop her a message, but you can also drop Joe a message if you haven't already been in touch. Joe, have you heard from some of the members on the trip?
Mhm. Just a few so far. So please reach for me at 8 @Traveler Joe MB, and I'll respond to you, get you added into the proper groups, two groups.
Yeah, yeah, perfect. So you haven't already reached out to Joe, then now is the time. Get that
I
Telegram
think
set
I've
up.
lost you again, Gordon.
And yeah, I think it's just the delay factor, but I think we're in good shape now. So yeah, so once again, questions either to Joe or to Melody in our on our team, and either way, we want to make sure you are well prepared for the trip. And I haven't seen any questions, so I think we've done our job, Joe. I want to thank you all for coming out and participating in the webinar, and I wish you a fantastic time in Colombia. It is a remarkable country. I think you'll be very pleased with the experience we've put together, and I will very much look forward to your feedback when you do get back. So have a great time. Joe, any words from you with the delay?
Yeah, just I really look forward to seeing and meeting you all and ensuring that we all have a fantastic trip. I like to have a lot of fun, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and you will have a lot of
Did you
fun.
lose me?
So in the meantime, take care, everybody. Stay warm and have a great time in Colombia. Bye bye for now.
Bye.